welcome back to another episode of Minority Reportz podcast and digital series. I am your host, Shaikh. What is happening? I got lipstick on my teeth. What's happening? What's shaking and grooving? You guys, I'm very excited about my guest today because her and I met in New York. We have been New York actors. We've been grinding it for a while, and she's talented. You've seen her on tons of stuff. I want her to come and talk about it. Incredibly talented actor. She's an overachiever. She was a vet and who decided to be like, I think I can do acting and be really good at it. And turns out she is. Here's my very talented friend, Ami Sheth. How are you?
Hi. What an intro. My God.
You like it? You like that intro?
I liked it. This is pump me up, all pumpy, you know?
Pumping it up, dude. That's what
exactly.
I do. I'm the hype woman. That's what I do. That's what I
like
do.
It. I like it.
I mean, I believe right before we started, you were mentioning that the kids are asleep.
Thank God the kids are asleep. I love them, but whoo.
Yeah. How old are they now?
I have a 15-month-old and a 4.5-year-old.
Wow, 4.5 months. Do you guys like take turns? Like,
no. The answer is no. I mean, he works really long hours. So
wow.
I luckily have my parents live nearby, and okay. we have a great nanny who helps out. So we make it all work. Everybody's like, takes a village. So
yeah.
You know, yeah.
I mean, it's a lot. And like, you still, go out for auditions, you still act, you still do all that.
Well, it's not really going out for auditions.
Well, not anymore. Right. Self-taping. Yeah. Self-taping. Yeah. But are you still, so you don't still have a veterinarian practice or anything?
No. Nope. I am I'm a retired veterinarian.
You're retired. When did you retire? When you had your first kid?
Even before then, actually. I mean, when I decided to kind of take that plunge over into acting,
yeah,
I was like, listen, if I don't just do this, I need to just do this. So, I did work weekends for a while, which was great because, I didn't have to like grind overnights like lots of actors do with the bartending and the waitressing and the hours and all of that. As a vet, I could work a couple hours on the weekends and be okay for the rest of the week. And, for all the auditions and the hustling, the New York hustle, you remember.
Listen, the hustle and the grind is, a lot of people look at what we do and they're like, oh my God, that's so cool. And it's like, they don't see the unsexy things, right? It is very unsexy until it gets sexy when you get in front of the camera.
Before I was living in the city, I was living in Jersey, and I would come in, have an audition 2-3 in a day, and I would be like changing outfits in the Starbucks bathroom. Like, that's how unglamorous it is when you are just hustling and grinding, I was taking naps in Central Park because I was like, I can't go all the way home and come back in time. I was literally just like, put a blanket out, take a little nap, bring a snack.
Did anybody picnic? Nobody ever left you some change? They're like, oh, look at this struggling artist.
Oh, yeah.
They're like, there's like, here's $1 for your coffee.
But that's the hustle. Right? You do what you gotta do.
You're like sitting there drinking your coffee. They're like dropping coins, and you're like, "Hey, I'm not homeless. I'm just drinking my coffee, sitting on a bar."
I was semi-homeless, I guess.
Listen,
I had a home. It was just far.
Exactly. No, that commute from Jersey. I grew up in Jersey City briefly, so I know that commute. That commute is hard. So I mean, you started doing acting like what? You've been acting for how many years now? 10 plus, I would think.
It's been over 10 years at this point.
Yeah. I mean, that's
been over 10 years.
That's a grind. What got you into acting? What made you make that shift?
Honestly, being good little Indian girl, I never actually thought I could make a living doing it. Right. I mean, just never saw anyone on TV that looked like me or in the magazines or anything. And I mean, how many people want to be actors and how many people actually get to like live that? So for me, I did it because I just loved it. And it was a creative release when I wasn't doing my science, which I also really loved, and the animals, which I also really loved. I didn't actually think I was going to make a career out of it. And then I started doing it and things started happening. And I was like, maybe I should take a little time off and see where this goes. I have my degree. I can always, go back to it. And then I just kind of never did.
Got it. I mean, you did modeling too, right? You were a model too.
I did some print modeling and stuff. I started out doing that just to get experience behind the camera.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what were your parents? I mean, I know like every brown person asks this, but like my family was horrified. Absolutely horrified at the idea. My brother told me, I have 4 older brothers. One of my brothers straight out told me, one of my brothers told me, you'll never make it because you're not blonde hair, blue eyed. That was one. And another brother told me that I will become a prostitute if I do this. And I was like, and now being a stand-up comic, I'm like, prostitutes make way more money than we do. And and maybe I should have went into prostitution because that sounds like a lot more lucrative career than.
And you get to lie down, so and
you get to lie down. I mean, you
get to lie down. You're standing up. It's stand-up comedy.
That's so, right. Yeah, it's exhausting. It's exhausting. you get paid in drink tickets. What the fuck? Like that's what you get paid in. This is some bullshit.
No, it's true. My parents thought it was a phase. They literally were like, "Oh, that's so cute. You're doing this. When are you going back to your real job?" Right? Kind of thing. And I was like, I'm not going back. And they were like, that's really funny. And they just assumed, I'd get hungry enough and starve. And so I would just go back. And then, I met my husband. And then they were like, whatever, he married you. It's fine. Now you're his problem. So that's cool. You do whatever. If he's okay with it, that's fine. I think they were just worried. They were like, who's going to want to marry an actor,
Wow. Do you think this is like an actual stigma that artists have, especially in the South Asian culture of like, especially for women? It's just I
don't even think it's just the South Asian culture. I think like people are like, who wants to marry a starving artist? Like nobody. You're like, well, it's not like this normal, stable life, right? The hours are crazy.
That's right.
Being on set is crazy. You don't have a 9 to 5. You're not going to like a nice little office where you're like, hi, how are you? Hanging around having your coffee around the water cooler or whatever that people do. Yeah. And I just think it's like a crazy, weird, wacky life. And so I think a lot of people are kind of turned off by that. They like some people like routine.
Yeah.
I think the people who go into what we do are the people that don't like routine. I don't want my day to look the same every day. And when it does, like lockdown, it's driving me like crazy. Right.
That's right. That's right. I mean, I'm not a cubicle person. Like I can't. Yeah. I mean, I have a hard time even during the pandemic to sit in front and do this. I mean, it's like my hips are locking as I'm speaking to you. They're going to start freaking clicking.
Squats, Mona. Do some squats.
Well, squats helping this out. You think this COVID weight is just going to disappear on its own? No, ain't no squats helping that. It's bullshit, dude. It's freaking bullshit. I mean, did you study acting? I mean, where did you study acting?
So I've always studied acting. In high school, I was doing musicals. I was singing. I was but I just did it because I loved it. So it was something that I was always doing. But like I said, it was the creative release to my like kind of science brain and my science classes and all the stuff that I was doing. Like even in vet school, I did my clinicals at Cornell and I was there and I joined like the theater group and people were like, how are you doing a full-time program, doctor program, and then like at night you're doing theater rehearsals and I was like, yeah, well, I needed that. I just need to like kind of switch
creative outlet. You need like a creative outlet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Right. I mean, what did you want to be?
It's exhausting, but it's also exhilarating.
That's correct. It feeds your soul, dude.
There's nothing like it. Like you could, a day of being with my kids for like 14 hours. I'm like way more exhausted than being on set, on my feet, in the bright lights for 14 hours. Cause it's you ride,
Right. That's right. It has a way of just kind of giving you this level of energy, and you feel so, because I think it's also just such a great way of being so connected to yourself, right? It's like, as exhausting as it may be on set for 12 hours, 14 hours, but it's also something you love. It's also something you're passionate about. So you don't feel the exhaustion so much, you know?
Oh, exactly. It's
Yeah.
like, it's not a job as much as like something that you're like, holy crap, I get to do what I love. And that is freaking awesome, right? Like, how many people get to say that? And that just feeds me. Like, I feed off of that energy.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you. I mean, did you do you have like other like vets or doctors in your family, or are you the only vet in your family?
I actually, my husband, his entire family are all doctors or dentists or everything. Like, they're
But
all.
he's not a doctor. He's a
He's
finance
not.
guy.
He's
Yeah.
not. Like, both his parents are doctors.
Oh wow. So he's a finance guy. And what about you? Do you have family that do you have siblings that are doctors or
I'm an
anything?
only child.
You are an only child. I mean, that is an anomaly because brown people love to procreate. So for your
Yeah.
parents to be
So
like, money's
apparently,
enough.
no, I agree. But apparently, I was a very difficult pregnancy. I didn't know this till later in life. You know, when you're a kid, they're like, "Oh, we stopped because you're so perfect," and we just, And then later, my mom was like, "Yeah, it was a terrible pregnancy. I was like hospitalized all the time. I was dehydrated. I was throwing up all the time with you. Like, we were just glad you didn't come out retarded." And I was like,
Oh my god! Hey,
I'm glad I'm old enough to hear that now.
Oh my god, dude! I hope you don't get in trouble for using the R word here.
Sorry. I mean, look, people used that word back then. I don't use it now, but at the time, they were just worried for my health and my.
Yeah. Did you were you a vet for all animals or just cats and dogs? What was your specialty?
I did just cats and dogs, but in vet school you learn everything. I mean, I literally worked on snakes, worked on a kangaroo once. I mean, just crazy things. Crazy things.
Wow. What made you want to become
Horses, cows, sheep, you name it. Because like, as a vet, you kind of have to learn everything because your tests are on everything, your boards are on everything, and then you can decide what you want to do. There's literally like frog questions. There's literally like frog questions on those board exams.
Oh wow. Shamrock Pixie here says, "What kind of vet were you? Dogs and cats or all animals?" And of course you answered that, and she says, "Birds." Did you do birds? No birds?
I mean, I've worked on birds, but birds. I was a dog and cat person.
Yeah, me too.
I love birds. I think they're amazing, but they're just fragile. Like I just kind of was like, I don't want to work on anything that fragile.
Yeah, and they shit on your car like when you don't even are expecting it. You're like, fuck you. Like, dogs and cats don't do that.
I also didn't want to work on a farm or do I'm in New York City, so like, how many cows are there, that I could be like working on? But
no, not a lot. Not a lot of cows there. I mean, you go and you're like, all right, so you go and become were you one of those only children where you kind of grown up long that you had an older sibling to like protect you, or you had someone to talk to?
Which I did. And that was like, I mean, every year on my Christmas list, like number one would be baby sister or baby brother. That would be number one for like my entire life. Number two would be like dog. Number three would be like cat. I never got any of those things. So
your parents were like, here's a vacuum cleaner. Go clean the house.
Exactly. They're like, what is this?
They're like, we're not getting you a cat. We're not.
I think actually that thing came out of the fact that my parents wouldn't let me have a pet growing up. And my parents even said that to me when I was later in life. They were like, we probably should have just gotten you that dog. Maybe you would have like been a people doctor, as they would have loved.
Wow. Was that a thing? Like, were your parents like kind of pushing you to be like, become a people doctor, don't fix dogs and cats?
Yeah, I mean, they were okay with it, but I think like the rest of the Indian community didn't understand. They were like, why? You're gonna go and do like kind of the same amount of school, but why?
Why the cats?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how it was in your house, but like, I don't think South Asians in general are like pet people.
We were each other's pets. I have 4 older brothers. I would say that I was everybody's pet because I was the youngest.
I think you're still everyone's pet, Mona.
I don't know about that. I mean, I don't know. That is so not the case at all.
No?
No, not
well, maybe only the people who love you.
Yeah, no. I don't get petted at all. There's no pet.
Pandemic.
It is a pandemic, yeah. I would think that as an only child, you would be like kind of just like, oh, it's like a lonely pet. Oh, come, just trying to like pet you down.
Maybe it was that. It was like, give me something, you know. I'm just like talking to my imaginary friends all day. Like, come on, give me an animal, give me a sibling, something.
Like, has that changed for you, or you do still have like those imaginary friends to hang out with?
No, now I actually have real friends.
Who you can't see because it's the middle of a freaking pandemic.
Yeah. Well, I'm seeing them over Zoom, I guess, right? Or over whatever, over social media. No, and that was a big, like, that's why I have 2 kids, because I just was like, I want to make sure that my kids have.
Yeah. Are you going to have more kids, or is the factory closed? The factory has
much to the chagrin of my husband. I think he would like to have one more.
Really? But your parents must be very happy. Like, you have 2 kids, so now they're just like, all right.
Yeah, I think as soon as somebody married me, they were like, whew, we're done. You know, no, they're amazing. Like, they help out so much, which is huge.
Yeah.
To have their support, but especially when you're on set, right? Because even if you have someone helping you in the day, like a nanny, like, you know, your nanny's not going to be here at like till midnight or whatever it is, taking care of your kid. Like, that's where your parents are kind of awesome.
So wait, you guys are in New York City, in Tribeca, and are your parents like
in Jersey?
Oh, so that's not really close.
No, they're about 30 minutes away.
Oh, okay.
Like, they're like right over the Holland Tunnel, and I live right next to the Holland Tunnel.
Oh, so that's perfect then. That's right. Tribeca is right there. That's right. Man, I have been watching some of the videos and images of New York City, and it looks haunting. Like, what the pandemic has done to it, it's haunting. Now, you're living there. How has it been for you? Like, what is your kind of feeling when you go out?
So yes, I actually was gone for the beginning of the pandemic. I think a lot of people just left when it was like really, really, really terrible bad in March. And here we are again, back in March, basically. But those first 3 months, we went to North Carolina and stayed with my husband's family, which was great for the kids, especially. And I had like a 4-month-old or whatever, right? Like, I was still in the trenches of having a newborn. And so that was really great. We were there for 3 months. We thought we would be there for 2 weeks, and then everything got shut down. So we didn't really realize that.
4 months? Did
3 months. Yeah,
3
months.
And this is like crashing at his cousin's place? Is that what
His parents. So that's okay.
Parents. Okay, got it. I was like, shit, cousins? That's some awesome cousins right there. Can I be friends?
No. We stayed at his parents with the kids, which was great, you know.
Oh, they must have loved it. Dude, grandparents love having their great kids.
Are you kidding me? When else are they going to spend 3 months seeing their grandkids every single day? It was like Christmas for them.
That's right. I bet. But you must have gotten a lot of help too, because now his parents are like taking care. And
I mean, you know, and it was amazing because they were like, you know, doing the laundry and cooking and just like, it was like takes a village, like I said. And they thrilled, and so that was great. And my kids got to like spend so much time with their grandparents that live far away. So
that's right.
That was such a blessing.
Yeah. I mean, your background, you guys are Gujaratis. Is your husband Gujarati too?
He is.
Wow. So do you guys speak, do you speak Gujarati?
I do. We both speak Gujarati. We're just, we tend towards English, right? Because that's our more kind of dominant language. Sure. But we try to tell my parents to speak Gujarati with the kids so they'll learn.
That's right. Yeah. I mean, you both speak Gujarati, so you must speak that to your kids.
We kind of just speak English. We're terrible. We should be speaking English. We speak English, and it's just easier, right? Like, there's certain words I don't know how to say. I don't know, whatever, tractor. I don't know. I don't know how to say these things in Gujarati.
You're like, hold that. I will get you. Mom, how do you say tractor in Gujarati. How do you say that?
Yeah,
Man,
I mean, our Gujarati is conversational, so we definitely can, and we speak it to our parents, and we speak to the grandparents, and all of that kind of stuff.
yeah.
So hopefully, they're just kind of like absorbing all of it.
Yeah. I mean, I look at you and I don't think I've ever, we've known each other in passing and kind of seen each other, but we've never really hung out. So I don't really know much about your background. Like your first generation, your parents are immigrants, correct?
Correct.
So, and did your parents come to America because your dad, are your parents doctors? Like, what do they do?
No, but my dad is, he came like for school. He came for he was a chemist. He was getting like an advanced degree out here, and then my mom came eventually.
Yeah.
So in the 70s.
Wow. Oh, and your parents came here, and then they were like, "All right, we're And did they meet here? Did they meet in India?
No, they met in India, and then they were separated. They got married, and then they were separated for like, I don't know, 2 years or something. And then
Wow.
yeah, and so they were kind of. But it's weird, right? In India, you don't really know the person that well when you get married to them. They like, I think they snuck out to one movie, but
Yeah.
in a movie you don't talk. You're just sitting there.
That's right. It's like a Tinder marriage. You just met somebody. You're like, we're getting married now.
We're getting married now. So that's basically what it was, right? In a way. So
Right.
yeah. I mean, they kind of got to know each other over long distance, I guess.
Right. I mean, like you and I think we're a generation. I mean, look, I'm an immigrant, you're first generation, but we are both still kind of spoiled in the sense that we didn't have to go through that. We don't have to be like tied up into arranged marriages, right? Our parents
Right.
did. I don't know, but your parents arranged or was it a love marriage?
No, well, kind of, sort of. My dad like checked my mom out and was like, whoa, she's pretty smoking. And then she like at some event, and he still tells the story like, I saw your mom across the room in a purple sari.
Oh.
She had green eyes and all this kind of, yeah. And he was like, I knew she was the one. And yeah, he just like went to my mom's dad and said like, going to America, I'm gonna make something of myself. You should let your daughter marry me. And he did.
Wow. Dude,
But he never spoke to her. He just saw her.
wow. So did they get to like talk later, at least get to know each other?
Yeah, but not like they weren't like dating. I mean, they, like I said, they maybe had one kind of chat, and then they snuck out to a movie once.
Yeah.
At night to like go sit in a movie theater together, like shortly after they got married.
Right. Right. I mean, I can't even imagine like kind of being put in a place like, look, but the same was with my parents. Like my dad saw my mom like once, and my dad was just like, that one, she's the hot one. That's
it. That's how they pick. They're like, that one's the hot one. That's the one I want.
That's it. And it's crazy because my dad's older brother, who was about an extra 5 years, he was like 10 years older than my mom. And he kind of had my uncle kind of had the hots for my mom, and my grandmother, my mom's mom, was just like, hold that phone. You're a little too old. And he was like, what? I'm only 10 years. My mom, my grandmother was like, we're not doing this. Okay. We're going after the younger one. Okay. She's not looking, she doesn't have daddy issues. Let's just get out of the way over here. But yeah, my dad was a very good looking guy.
Is that still a source of contention with the brothers these days?
What is
that like your uncle wanted to marry your mom and it never happened?
Yeah, I mean, he married a really nice lady too. Okay. He married a wonderful human being. My uncle's an asshole, so that I'm glad that didn't work out. He was a douchebag. He died. It's okay. The world's better without him. But too dark. But the truth.
It got dark.
Yeah, it got really dark. But he was a douchebag. But I'm glad my grandmother made the right decision. I think she probably sensed the douchiness in him. But no, it was just very. No. Yeah, man, those times were like just so different, like did your parents kind of have this thing where they were like, we're going to pick a dude for you? Or it was just like, we'll just try to push you along and try to find someone for you?
Yeah, no, they kind of were like, what are you doing? We're here for you. We're here to like do things for you. And I'm like, don't even bother. I'll figure this out on my own, kind of thing.
I mean, you were like, did they start pushing you when you were what? You graduated school and they're like, start looking.
Yeah.
Clock is ticking. You're like, oh shit.
It's a weird thing, right? You're not allowed to talk to boys your entire life. And then all of a sudden they're like, find someone to marry. And you're like, what?
Exactly. Because that's how they did it, right?
Yeah.
Then they were just like, just repeat the cycle. And you're like, but it's not the same. We're in America. It's just
Definitely
not the same. It's weird. I'm always fascinated by people who are born in, especially South Asian, and even Middle Eastern, who are born and raised here. And then they go back to the old country and find a spouse and bring them here.
That happens a lot.
It does. I mean, I couldn't do it. I could not.
Well,
I couldn't.
You probably couldn't do it because you're, we're like confident, outspoken women, and that's not necessarily what the dudes over there are looking for.
That was not what.
Like, let me look at your child rearing hips. How can you cook? Are you educated but not too educated?
Let me get your Facebook password. You're just like, nah, dude, that's where I cross the line. Like, no. Yeah, I mean, but I'm fascinated by women who are born and raised here. And then they're like, I got myself a husband from like Pakistan. And I was like, no, you couldn't find anybody here. It's like 330 million people. You couldn't find nobody.
There's more over there though.
Yeah, I'm just like, oh, that's nice. That's sweet. And I don't know how that works out, but I think it's for someone like myself, like I moved when I was 15, and I can't imagine like going back and like trying to marry someone from the old country. Like that's just not gonna work.
Well, I think it could work if somebody was like educated outside of the old country, like if they come here for school and they've been to college here and all of that, like
here, but not in the old country, not living in the old country,
like they've traveled, like they've seen the world.
Maybe, right? That's a maybe too, right? That's a maybe. I just always think like whenever I meet dudes from the old country, I don't know what it is. It's like they wear colognes, but there's a musty smell. I don't know what it's about. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. I don't know. Every time I'm just like, why do you smell so musty? But it's like, did you take a shower? What? I don't know why you smell so musty. I don't know what.
It's called a fixer-upper, Mona. I don't know.
Listen, I'm not in the rescue business. I don't know about you, but I'm not in the rescuing business. I gave that shit up a long time ago. I've been going to therapy for it. I gave that shit up. It's just not my jam.
For you.
Yeah, dude. Just like you want a partner, not a project, right?
Right.
I mean, when you met your husband, what was that like? Was it like I saw him across the room and I was like, he is the one?
No, I mean, we met at a wedding, so that is kind of.
Was it a good wedding?
It was his cousin's wedding.
Oh,
it's like a Bollywood movie right there. So
was he like singing and then the
like flowers falling from the sky?
Exactly. Then the wind's blowing your hair. It's like you're like looking at him like.
I like to think that always happens to me when I walk around.
Beyonce always has a fan.
Probably not.
Right? Beyonce always has a fan, and she always looks so amazing.
I need that.
Right?
You need somebody to walk around with you with a fan.
Just a fan. That would be so creepy. Imagine somebody just walking around with a fan. Why are you blowing fan? It's 20 degrees outside. It's freaking freezing.
Just on the hair. Make the hair move.
Shut the goddamn fan off. I'm freezing over here. Like, shut it off. It's like, Jesus, this is ridiculous. So you guys are at a wedding, and who introduces who? Like, is it like a parents talking thing? It's like, you should be better.
So, we had met in the city a bunch of times, but I was never single or looking or anything. And at the time, so I mean, it was his cousin's wedding. I was on the groom side, he was on the bride side, and turns out his mom and my mom saw each other at the night before the wedding at the Garba, and they grew up in the same little town in India and hadn't seen each other since they were kids.
Wow.
And they were like, oh my God. And they started chatting, and they hadn't seen each other. I mean, in like 30 years, 20-30 years. Yeah. And they, their whole families had grown up together, known each other for generations. They grew up in this small little town in India. And they got to talking like, oh, I have a son this age, I have a daughter this age. And then they were like, oh, we'll introduce them tomorrow at the reception.
Wow. So you had seen him around, because I know like the South Asians, right? We all kind of get to just know each other, especially in New York. Like
yeah. But you know how it is when you're dating someone, you're not like looking, you know?
What do you mean? Like you were dating one person? You were dating one particular person, and so you're not
dating one particular person.
Right.
You know, I was in a relationship or whatever. And so I was meeting people, and I'm seeing people out. I'm like, hi. But I'm not necessarily like looking at this person being like, oh, that guy's pretty hot. Like, I'm not looking at him like that.
Right. Because you're focused on this person you're with.
I'm with somebody. But at the wedding, there was that like, oh, okay. You know how it is, Mona, when you're single at a wedding. Yeah. And they put you at I like to call it the circus table. It was like all the ones, all the like riffraff. They don't know where to put them because they're just the people who are just ones.
Oh.
And it'll be like the 16-year-old cousin, and then the like divorcee, and then the like couple of unmarried people. They just like throw them all together because they don't know what to do with all these ones. So
children of a lesser god, like, here you go. You sit at this table.
You end up at the riffraff circus table, right? So I was at the circus table. Mom comes over. She's like, come meet my friend. Come meet your friend's son. And I'm like, stop embarrassing me. These are my people. Stop embarrassing me. Because she was talking very loudly about introducing me to her friend's son.
Okay.
I was like, I'm coming, fine. I don't want to meet anyone.
Sure.
And I go over there and I'm like, hey.
So at this point, you're not dating anybody. That's why you're like, what's up?
Yeah. I was kind of like, in a breakup. So I was just like, which is also why I was like, I don't want to meet anyone. Like, leave me alone. I didn't even want to go to the wedding. My mom like took me there, basically kicking and screaming, because the last thing, when you're like in a bad place, the last thing you want to do is go to a wedding and have everyone be like, when are you getting married?
I hate that. Yeah. They look at you like you have cancer. You're like, yo, I'm just single. I don't have cancer.
I know. That's why you get thrown at the circus table. So that's basically what happens.
Man. So you guys like check it. You guys like what? Start talking. You're like, yo, you want to go get some coffee together? What's up? You want to have some gulab jamun?
We're like hanging out at the wedding and then just chatting, and there's always the after party. Hang out at the after party. I was like, oh, you're in the city? Oh, all right. Yeah, maybe we should get together sometime. And the rest is history. Literally saw each other every weekend after that.
Wow. The people that you were dating before you met him, would you bring them around and to meet your mom and dad, or no?
No. I mean, I have in the past brought someone home. I think because they're not accustomed to this whole like dating situation, I only bring people home if I think like this is it.
Mm-hmm. And did you bring anyone that you were like, this is it? Did it like come close to that, or no?
No, I mean, I introduced as like, oh, this is my friend, but not really like in that kind of way. There's a difference.
Yes. I mean, I kind of just didn't have that kind of luxury to bring people. I wasn't even allowed.
I literally, yeah, exactly. But then that time comes when they're like, get married. So then they expect that you're at least talking to boys, right?
Yeah, I mean, not my family. My family was just very the opposite in every single way. Like, I think for us, it's also the Muslim factor, right? That like whole conservative thing. It's just like, we'll find you a guy, and I'm just like, you've destroyed my life enough. That's fine. I don't need you to make further bad decisions for me. I mean, I think for me, it was just my family history is just really topsy turvy and really bizarre. Very unlike any, we just didn't have a healthy environment we grew up in. It was just, there was a lot of chaos. There was a lot of fight. There's a lot of violence in our upbringing. So it was just, there was no such conversation. So you come from a way well-adjusted background than I do. So yes, you come from a healthy background. That's why they had those conversations. In our family, the conversation was, are you alive? You're breathing? Did you eat something? Okay, fuck off. That was the conversation we had. It wasn't really, even to this day, my brothers talk to me, and if I tell them that I'm seeing someone, they're just like, oh, okay, that's cool. So what are we having for dinner? Like, there's no interaction. There's no, like, tell me more about that person. Yeah, we just don't have that in our family.
But what if it got to the point where you were like, this might be the one? Then they maybe would be interested in getting to know who this person is, right? If they're gonna like join the family.
I'm gonna say a no. I'm gonna say a hard no on that one. I'm gonna say it's gonna be a hard no on that. You just basically get married, and then you're like, hey, I'm getting married. You just want to show up. You just want to come by, like, we're throwing this party because we're getting married, and cool. Okay, awesome. Good talk. Wow. Woo, keep it up. All right, great. I'll be on this corner right here. So yeah, that's kind of our thing. Like, when you got married, did you like go back to India to do all the like clothes shopping? Your mom went with you and all that good stuff?
Yeah.
I mean, how long when you met him? You know, people always say like when you meet the right one, you know when you know. Was that the case for you, or did you guys like needed some more time?
No, I mean, you kind of know. Like, I don't know if I'm necessarily like there's the one kind of person, but I think like, when they're not the one,
Believe me, I have dated tons of those.
Same. No. So, like, okay, this is like not going to work out. And then if you don't get that, this is not the no feeling, then you're like, yeah, this could be a thing. This could be a real thing,
Yeah.
And yeah, I think we dated for like a good 2 years before he proposed, which I thought was really hella long.
2 years? I thought it was shorter than that.
No, well, yeah, because our families kind of knew each other, so I'm like, dude, and you know how they never ask the dude when you're gonna get married, but they always ask the girl, when are you guys getting married? I'm like,
ask him.
Asks. Exactly. I'm like, why are you asking me? I don't know.
He's the one who's gonna propose. He's the one with the ring.
Timeline, talk to him, but nobody ever talks to the dude. They're always like, so when are you getting married? Yeah,
it's like I'm not trying to trick a man. Like, figure it out. Ask him. Like, why is this on me? Like, I'm not trying to trick him. Like, if you want to do this, do this. If not, goodbye. Like,
exactly.
What are you gonna do, man? I mean, have you always lived with your parents, or did you ever just live on your own?
No, I lived on my own, like in school and all that kind of stuff. Though I did move back with my parents when I left. When I decided to pursue acting full time, because I was poor, right? I was like making zero money.
That's right.
And I was like, how am I going to do this? So yeah, like I said, sleeping in Central Park.
So when you got married, you were still living with your parents?
I was, but I like at that time we kind of sort of slowly were doing like my parents kind of knew like this, And, if you kind of say, oh, poor guy, he works all these long hours. He has no one to like cook him dinner, and he has no one to take care of him. And this poor boy. And they're like, yeah, you should go do that. So I creepily kind of like was living with him, and then living with my parents. And then eventually we got engaged, and yeah.
Got it. And your parents weren't like, oh my God, you're going to spend the night at his place? Oh my God.
Not once they knew like this is a matter of time, right? It was just a matter of him asking.
Right.
I think, at that point, our parents had talked, and all of, it was like, this is
like after 2 years of this.
Yeah. Yeah, we didn't tell our parents for the first year at all that we were dating. We didn't tell them for the first year because it's too much pressure. Because they know each other, and they'd be on the phone going like, "Did you hear this? Did you hear this? Have you heard anything?"
Right.
It's too much.
Yeah. That's a lot. Did you guys in Jersey? Did your family? Did your parents live in like a pretty like an Indian dominated kind of city, or like
not so much. No, not so much. But they definitely, had friends in, like, you're talking about like Edison, those kind of areas. Yeah,
Edison,
definitely. We would go there for our grocery shopping.
Fuck yes, you would. That's a good. The Patel brothers, baby.
Some good grocery shopping, some good eating, some good shopping.
Listen, I'm about that life, when I think that's the one thing I miss about New York is that the good desi food. Like, we have it here too, but I don't think we have it like the way New York City has it. LA doesn't really have that, the way like you guys have it in New York, I think.
LA has good sushi.
LA does have good sushi. Yes, we have good sushi, horrible dating, and great weather. Great,
amazing weather.
Amazing weather with horrible people to date. Yeah, great. Trade off.
I don't know if New York is that much better. I will say
you're right. I don't know New York is that much better either. What's the ratio in New York for single men versus women? I think it's something crazy.
College educated, it's 2.5 to 1.
2.5 women for every one guy. Yeah, players. They're just out there, just
and they can, right? They can just keep dating younger, and you're like,
that's right.
What's going on here?
Yep. I mean, how important was it for you to marry someone of your background?
I honestly didn't think I was going to. It just kind of happened, and I mean, I did want to date. I did want to marry an Indian guy. I would say that. But it didn't have to necessarily be someone who spoke my own same language. You could be from the South, from the North. That didn't really matter to me.
Yeah.
I just, culturally, I kind of like that, that. I mean, dated non-Indian guys.
You did? What was the difference between dating non-Indian guys versus Indian guys?
I found that I really wanted that family-oriented situation, which I find a lot of Indian guys have, right? They come from that very family-oriented situation, and I wanted that. But you know what? I found that same to be with a lot of Jewish men, right? I found that the same with a lot of Italian men. They're very family-oriented. I mean, I haven't dated like every nationality, so I can't like go through all of them.
Right.
But you know what I mean? There are definitely other cultures that are family oriented. So I can't just say it was just
for sure. I mean, Latin cultures are huge family oriented.
Absolutely, right? Absolutely
big on family. So yeah. Certain cultures are just so big. So you've been, you've been killing it. You've been playing a lot of Muslim roles. Let's delve into that.
Yes, I've been the last two roles I played well, the first one they didn't say she was Muslim, but her name was Muslim, was Sana on Dietland. And then lastly,
what show was that?
Dietland on AMC.
Dietland.
Which I played an acid attack survivor.
Oh wow!
So I had half of my face was burned off. So I had like many hours of prosthetics a day.
Shit, that's painful. Where was your character from? Like, what was her background?
They never really said where I was from.
Interesting.
Because they didn't want to like go down that rabbit hole.
Got it.
They did say that I did speak about my father being a very controlling and horrible person, and when my mom wanted to leave him, he punished her by throwing acid on my face.
Jesus.
And that was the storyline. And but they never actually went into where I was from.
I mean, when you went and auditioned for it, and when you got the part, when you guys were working on it, did they ask for your kind of input of how the character should be portrayed and stuff like that, or it was just you prepping, coming up with choices, and just kind of doing the shoot?
Yeah, kind of. Also, when I actually was offered the role, I made it a point to speak to actual acid attack survivors, women who have been through this experience. And it was extremely heartbreaking, but the strength. I mean, I just was able to like kind of take that and go with it, you know,
Right.
the strength that these women have to, you know, pick up, move forward, get their lives on track. And not only that, but oftentimes help others who have been, you know, in that situation. And it's crazy. It's crazy.
Are these survivors in America or is this overseas?
No, it was overseas. I spoke to some women in India, actually.
Wow.
But
You know,
it happens in a lot of countries.
listen, it's very big in Bangladesh. It's very big in Pakistan.
Very big very big in India, you know, and
Yeah.
for a while it was happening in England a lot also.
Really? Yeah.
And not only was it happening to women, it was happening to men in England. Like men were using it on other men to kind of pay back for certain, you know, wrongs.
Among certain communities or just white dudes doing it to other
white dudes. Yeah.
That's crazy. Well, yeah, because they don't have access to guns, so they're like, I'm just gonna just throw acid in your face.
I heard this was a thing, so let's give it a
That's crazy.
It's crazy.
That's
and then the other character I played was Afreen, which was on Blind Spot for the last 3 years on NBC, which the show is done. It's over. But yeah, and I wore, you know, full hijab, and I was working for the FBI and lead FBI lab tech.
I mean, how many was that a recurring role for you?
It was. I was on it. I was on the show for season 3, season 4, and season 5.
And so they would bring back this recurring role. Did they write the character as hijab wearing, or did you at that?
No, that was something that they always had. Yeah. Which I think it's funny because, you know, people will go to my Instagram and be like, that's not her. It's just like very different, right? Than the character I'm playing, which, you know, it's, and I would get like hate mail. I would get all kinds of crazy things. And I just think people sometimes don't realize, like, it's a TV show. It's a TV show, you know, like the things that I'm saying or my storyline don't necessarily are not something I wrote. Like a writer wrote that. I get paid to say it. That's what it is.
You're an actor. That's what you do.
People don't understand that. They just like kind of assume that what they see is, I don't know, there's like a blurred line between reality and yeah.
You know, you remind me of this Turkish show called Ertugrul or something like that. I don't know if you've heard of the show. It's very popular, very, very big show. And that this gorgeous Turkish actress in it. And, you know, she plays a very pious character, just like yourself, like a hijab character and very pious. But if you go on her Instagram, she got shots in bikinis and she's like lounging on the boat. And a lot of Muslim men were very, very upset. They were so upset. They were like, I thought you were a religious woman. You were a pious woman who covered herself. And she's like, bitch, I'm an actor. What the fuck do you want?
Exactly. You know, and yeah.
Did you get, when you said you got hate mail, did you get hate mail from Muslim dudes?
No, I got hate mail from Hindu dudes because they thought I was Muslim, even though I'm Hindu. Like, who do you think you are? Like, you have no idea about X, Y, and Z because you're Muslim. Yeah, just crazy things about people.
I don't understand. What is their beef with you wearing the hijab? They're Hindus, so I don't.
No, it was like part of my storyline.
Sorry, they can't have beef because you're Hindu, so that's not
true.
Can't have beef, so that's out.
No, a part of my storyline was that, you know, the reason I came to the US was because I was fleeing the Muslim Hindu riots as a child. And so that is obviously a very hot topic. And I said nothing other than what my character's experience in that was as a little girl. She was a scared little girl. Her family fled India, came to the US, and, you know, that experience made me want to like be part of the FBI and kind of work for the government. And I was getting hate mail because of that. Like, what do you know about you Muslim, blah, blah, blah. What do you know about the Hindu Muslim rights? Do you know how many Hindus died? And do you know how many this? And I'm just like, yeah.
You're like, I'm just gonna, I'm gonna go I'm gonna go have my glass of wine now. I'm just.
Yeah. Exactly. And it's funny because it wasn't, I mean, I did get a few Muslim men who were like, oh, you're very different in real life than you are on the show.
Yeah, it's called acting.
But the hate I got was always from like very extremist Hindu men.
Huh.
Because they assumed I was Muslim because I was playing a Muslim character on TV.
Wow. Isn't that amazing? I mean, I always feel, and it's always the dudes, right? And by the way, it doesn't friggin' matter if they're Hindu, Muslim, or whatever. It's always these douchebag dudes, right? These extremist douchebags who just somehow feel like they're like entitled to your life. They're like entitled to tell you what to wear, how to act, how to behave. For instance, I recently got added on a WhatsApp group by this lovely Pakistani gentleman who flew me out in 2019 to perform in front of 2,000 Pakistanis in Queens. Okay.
Amazing.
I went and did a show. It was great. He goes, hey, listen, I wanna, you are the pride of Pakistan. We would like to add you to the WhatsApp group. And I was like, oh, you're so sweet. I was like, okay, cool. You know what? You're very sweet. Sure, go ahead, add me.
Mm-hmm.
This fucking little douche nozzle from Pakistan somewhere. This little shit sends me a message. I saw your website. It is very nice. However, if you become an electrical engineer and wear the hijab, it would be even better.
What is your dad? Like, what?
Who talks like this? Who are these people? Right?
No one.
So I wrote him back and I was like, don't worry about my hijab, but there is a burqa for your mouth. Fucking put it. Put the goddamn burqa on your goddamn mouth, you little bitch. And then I was like, okay, I can't deal with these assholes. So I messaged the gentleman. I was like, thank you so much for adding me, but I'm getting these strange messages from these douchebags who've never seen a pussy in their entire fucking life. So I'm gonna like very respectfully exit out of this bullshit at WhatsApp.
Right.
Because it's like, who needs this shit? And you're living in America. I'm living in America. I gotta listen to this fucking douche nozzle telling me I gotta wear the goddamn hijab. The fuck out of here.
People, you notice people are always braver over, text or social media. They have no problem saying whatever because it's not to your face. Like, I bet you this man would not have the balls to say anything to you if you were right in front of him, right?
He would never have the vagina to say it. He would never have the kind of pussy to walk up to me and be like, you should work.
Yeah, exactly. He would never. But because it's over text or whatever, he thinks he has the right to say whatever. And
he feels like a big man to be like, you should wear the hijab and electrical engineer. Douchebag, you probably aren't even an electrical engineer. Can you even write your own name? Like, what the hell are you talking about? But I'm just, you know what it is? I mean, I'm always just fascinated by certain cultures, man. Like our culture, very patriarchal, a lot of misogyny. And, even though we're like living in America and we live our lives and mind our own freaking business, you always get these messages. Do you get like other kind of weird sometimes messages on your like whatever on your Instagram or Twitter? It's like, you're really beautiful, but you would be even prettier if you put the burqa on. And you're like, what? Well,
I don't get that because I'm not Muslim, but you probably get that.
You know what I've gotten? I've gotten a lot of death threats. Like a lot. Yeah, I've gotten a lot of death threats. Yeah. At one point, this is a crazy story. I got an email from Homeland Security saying that they contacted YouTube and that some of my content has been banned in Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, Qatar, Pakistan, because I was talking about how women can't drive in Saudi Arabia and I was like making fun of the country, which I totally have the right to, because I think one of the jokes I made really hurt their feelings. One of the jokes I made, so I don't know if you know this, but in Saudi Arabia, women couldn't drive for the longest time, which is fucking crazy because we're in 2021. And now finally MBS.
Like doctors, like women who were doctors. were not allowed to drive.
Without a male escort, you cannot.
Without a male escort, like they couldn't get to work. They had to have they had to have a bodyguard or whatever.
You know what their logic behind that is? Why they don't let their women drive? They say that the machinery, I'm not making this up, that the machinery in the car affects a woman's ovaries and it prevents her from having children.
What?
Yes. This is the shit that they feed.
Wait, I don't understand. The woman is in the car. She's just not driving it. So
if you're behind the steering wheel, then your ovaries are getting affected.
Oh, it's the steering wheel situation.
It's the steering wheel. It's really
not just being in the car.
It's when you make that turn, your ovary goes, I'm dying inside, apparently, according to them. So I said, if it affects your ovaries, then wouldn't it also affect your balls since the machinery is affecting? And I was like, oh, sorry, how could it?
The balls are out there, right? Like the ovaries are inside. You would think they'd be more affected because they're like out.
Precisely. And I was like, how could it affect your balls, but you don't have any, so it probably won't affect you? And people lost their shit. Like, they legit just fucking lost their shit. How do you feed this kind of garbage?
People don't like being told they have no balls.
They don't, and vagina is way better, but that's just a personal opinion. Because it takes a pounding and pops out like human beings. It literally makes people like, hello. If it wasn't for vaginas, we wouldn't be here. So let's just get that out of the way. But I'm amazed. I'm just absolutely amazed by all those folks. So now, during the pandemic, have you been like self-taping? What have you been like up to?
Yeah, yes and no. I've been self-taping and going to like a nearby studio, which is like very close to my house, because sometimes it's loud in the house and I cannot do a self-tape because there's this crying, screaming baby.
Oh, wow. So you just leave with the babysitter and you're like, I'm going to go do this taping.
Yeah, I'll be back in an hour or less, right? And I just need to go do a tape in somewhere that's quiet. And so I'll just go to the studio and record and come back.
Right. Are you just going to act till the kids even grow up and move on with their lives? Is that a thing for you?
Yeah, this is what I'm doing.
Yeah. Raising babies and just acting. That's it.
Yeah. That's hopefully a lot more acting than has been happening during this pandemic, right?
Man, the pandemic has been rough. I heard something
it's been really rough for New York. New York is just like, whew, the entertainment jobs, theaters, everything. It's been really bad.
I heard that New York City lost 2/3 of the creative jobs. 2/3.
Yeah. I know.
What do you do as an artist? Like, if this is how you made a living and all your living's gone, like what do you do? Move back to Oklahoma?
A lot of artists are in a very bad place right now because of this pandemic, and then you have a lot of artists that work in nightlife and stuff like that so that they can be artists. And even that is shut. So they don't have their first job, their second job, they have no job, right? So it's a really tough situation. And, the poor Broadway and off Broadway and, New York is such a vibrant art scene, whether it be, dance or music or theater or whatever, right? None of it happening. So
right. Honestly, I'm happy that I moved to LA at the time that I did. I think LA has been really good for me because I started focusing more on stand-up and I've been able to just travel all over the world because of it. And I feel like LA was a good move for me, but I definitely feel like New York City. Every time I come to New York, I do like 4 or 5 shows a night. So I just feel like so much of a better comic when I walk away from New York City. I'm just like, I'm such a better comic when I'm in New York City. Then you come to LA and then you're like, okay, now we're going to talk about how the Kardashians are bleaching their assholes again. You're just like, that's irrelevant. It's like, it's so different. It's so different. The comedy scene is so different. Would you guys ever consider living in LA or no?
I would. I absolutely would. Unfortunately, my husband can't work there, so that's kind of semi a problem.
But he's working from home now.
No, he's going into the office.
He is throughout the pandemic?
He's been going since Labor Day.
No way. Wow. Yeah. So what do they
Which is good. thank God. I mean, not good that he's, but good because I mean, when you're living in a New York City apartment and there's kids and screaming and all this he can't get his stuff done. I can't get my stuff done. I need space. He needs space. It's better this way.
Yeah.
For all of us, for our marriage, for everyone.
Did you guys get vaccinated yet or no?
No. Are you vaccinated?
No, I'm trying to get vaccinated, but it's
as soon as they let me, I'm there.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people here are, have, take care of their older parents or whatever, or essential workers
Right.
going and getting vaccinated. But yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. Apparently telling dick jokes does not qualify you as an essential worker, which I personally think it does, but that's just me.
You're bringing joy to people. That's
I am so bringing joy.
People need joy right now.
Thank you. That's what I say. I've been doing I just finished, like, right before this, I was headlining an online Zoom show, and it's just so different, It's like there's no crowd work to do. You're just watching other comics.
The energy isn't there, right? Even the same thing with like self-tapes and auditioning, even Zoom callbacks where there's like you and you're doing a callback and there's like 100 little people in boxes staring at you while you're doing your callback. It's dead. There's not like that energy is not there, that you're not feeding off of that, right? So it just the whole thing feels very kind of two-dimensional.
I just hope to God that Biden's gonna keep his promise. He said that by end of May, he's talking about most of the adults in America should be vaccinated. So I really hope
that. That's amazing. My parents have their vaccine. They, my dad has his second this week, which is awesome. Especially getting all the high risk folks getting their vaccine is just such a whew.
Yeah, exactly. Your parents are vaccinated. You're like, all right, that's one less thing to worry about.
Exactly.
But during the pandemic, do you have like a babysitter at your place?
I do. I have my nanny, and we actually, our entire family, including my daughter who's 4, because she goes to school every day, we get tested every week.
Wow, including the nanny.
Including the nanny, we all of us every week get tested.
You don't worry about the nanny going away, going home, coming back? Like, that doesn't concern you?
Well, that's what the testing is for. It does concern me, of course, but she lives alone. Okay. She doesn't. She's actually from LA, so she doesn't have people out here. She moved out here in the middle of the pandemic, or she moved out here right before the pandemic.
Oh, wow.
And then everything shut down. And obviously it's not the New York life that she thought she was going to be living, but she got to see snow for the first time this year. So she was excited about that. There you go.
I remember seeing snow for the first time. I was like, don't care. I'm going to go back inside. All right. That's good talk.
I told her, I was like, I know it seems all amazing right now, but soon it's going to be black slush and it's going to be disgusting and you're not going to be into it. You're going to be over it very quick. It's beautiful the first time. And then you're like, okay, it needs to stop.
And then you fall on your ass and you're like, this isn't fun at all.
Yeah. And she's young. So that's good too. She's definitely not
I was just going to ask you that. How young?
She's in her 20s.
Really?
She's in her mid-20s.
You're a lot confident than I am. I would never get a young nanny. Like, ever.
Oh no, it's the best.
Really?
It's the best. The reason it's the best is because, well, she also was a college athlete. She's college educated. She was a college athlete. So she's super strong. She's full of energy. She's able to teach because she is college educated. It's like great. There's like all those things that you want, especially when you have 2 kids, young, running around. She's taking them to the park, like tiring them out. It's perfect.
I just hear stories about like hot young nanny and like, the husband thing. And I'm just like, yo, my nanny's going to be so old. She's going to be on diapers.
No, you don't want the old nanny. The old nanny can't the old nanny. Look, you go to the park.
That bitch is going to be missing teeth.
No. The old nanny is at the park and they're not running around with your kids. They're just watching your kid over there. They're sitting there.
Yeah, because that's exactly what my husband would be doing too, just watching her and not eyeing her either. Yeah, you can just watch her from afar because she ain't gonna do shit for you because she's old.
No, you want somebody energetic.
Yeah, no, I think you're a lot more gutsier than I am. I just, it's just like, I was watching, what is it, Ben Affleck and what was her name, Jennifer Garner, when they were married, and he was like banging the nanny right in their bed, and I was like, yeah, you have a hot young nanny. What do you want, Ben Affleck? Look at him. He was like, oh, hot young nanny, and like.
Hey, so I will say, I was totally before I had kids. I totally agreed with you. Totally.
Yeah.
But now the fact that she's young and is energetic and like smart, and it's great.
All right, Ami. I'm gonna go with that.
I'm gonna check back with you in a couple months.
I'm gonna check back soon. I'm gonna check back right after vaccination. I'm gonna see how that goes. Yeah. I just get concerned, man. When I see like hot young things, I'm like, no. Are you hot? Are you young? Get the fuck out of here. No.
There was some nannies that I right off the bat said no. Because they just, their nanny picture. Usually, like when you put your picture up for your nanny profile, like it shouldn't be you like looking like what your Tinder shot is. Those were like a definite no. They all
like the hot ones, like with like a cleave and all that.
Yeah, like cleavage. Like it literally like it just says like husband stealer underneath, or basically should have, right? So people like they're using their Tinder shots for their nanny profile. I'm like, who's gonna hire you?
I just came from Moscow. I take care of babies. You're like, bitch, I'm good. It's okay, Melania. We're gonna pass on you.
So yes, I think that but we have nanny smiling, holding children. It's like a I don't know.
Yeah. None of those titty shots coming in.
Exactly.
Bitch, if they
coming keep titties away, then it's okay.
Yeah, exactly. That's doing like an ass shot. I'll take care of your kids, and you're like, okay, bitch, no. You gotta go. You gotta go. Yeah. Good for you. Well, good for you. She sounds like a lovely girl, but I do want to check in on you after the vaccinations. Okay.
I do appreciate that.
No, absolutely. It's like who gotta bust a cap in somebody's ass. So, like, what do we need to do? This was such a fun conversation. Thank you for joining me. Where can people follow you? Yeah, where can people follow you, stalk you? Where can we do this?
Just it's my Instagram is at Ami Sheth. It's very easy. It's my name, AMISHETH. There you go.
Awesome. There you go. Nice and easy. Easy breezy. Ami, this was
very
so fun.
Easy.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Mona. Good night.
Good night.
You still have your whole night.
Yeah, it's only 8:00 for us, so I'm actually gonna take my dog to the dog park.
Oh, that's awesome.
I don't have a man to take to the dog park, so I just take the dog.
That's how you meet a man. You go to the dog park and you meet.
Not this one. It's all gay men. There's no straight men here. It's all very hot, very handsome, but they're into what I'm into. They like dick. I like dick. It's just not gonna work out.
Not gonna work.
It's not going to work out. But thank you, though. I appreciate the false hopes that I just got. My friend,
of you, Mona.
Right? I just need another dog. I don't need a boyfriend. I need another dog. That's what I need. But it's going to be okay. It's going to be fine. Okay. Ami, always a pleasure, my friend. Nice chatting with you. Bye. Take care. That was the lovely Ami Sheth. I hope you guys enjoyed that conversation. I know I definitely did. You guys, if you haven't followed me on my YouTube channel, please do. You can go to youtube.com/Mona Shaikh Comedian. You can also follow me on TikTok and Facebook. Facebook put me in friggin' jail today. Why, you ask? Because I was calling out some hateful Muslims taking shots at Kumail Nanjiani, because Kumail was on Conan. He was talking about how this racist racist Muslim mullah was wouldn't marry him and his wife Emily because she's white, and she had to change her name just to get married to him. It was so stupid. And he was calling it out, and I was like, good for you, Kumail. And I was calling out the hateful Muslims who were commenting on that page. And next thing you know, Facebook's like, we are mad at you. We shall put you in jail. And I'm like, I was calling out the hate, dude. Just why are people hating on each other? Just relax, all right? Anyways, but I'm still on Instagram and Twitter at Mona's Comedy. But you guys, I'll be back tomorrow with 2 brand new guests. Have a good evening. Stay safe out there. Smoke some weed. Have a good night.